The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days when Clara Hughes, a young journalist from Liverpool Echo, received an anonymous letter. The paper was yellowed, the handwriting elegant but trembling. If you value truth, come to Hollowmere Lane before midnight. The mansion's heart is waking again. No name, no return address, only a wax seal shaped like an eye. Curiosity was Claire's weakness. The stories of the Hollowmere mansion were older than the city itself. Tales of whispers in the hallways, of light bending strangely inside, of people who entered and came out different. The property had been abandoned since the fire of 1923, when the entire Ashbury family disappeared without a trace. Clara took her recorder, flashlight, and camera and drove through the storm. Hollowmere Lane was overgrown and silent, its cobblestones slick with moss. The mansion rose at the end like a frozen shadow, 4 stories tall, windows blackened by time. As she stepped inside, her flashlight flickered. The air smelled of damp and burnt wood. She whispered into her recorder, Hollowmere Mansion. October 23rd. Investigating claims of supernatural activity. A creak echoed from the second floor, rhythmic, like footsteps. When she followed the sound, the hall seemed to stretch farther than before. Pictures lined the walls, portraits of the Ashbury family, all painted with unsettling precision. Their eyes gleamed as if alive. In the grand parlor, she found something strange, a mirror taller than a door, covered by a dusty black sheet. Written on the frame were words in Latin, Speculum transitum, the mirror of passage. Clara lifted the sheet. The reflection was wrong. The room behind her in the mirror was brighter, warmer, almost alive. She saw a figure standing there, a man in 1920s attire, smiling faintly. Who are you? She whispered. The figure mouthed her name. A sudden knock echoed from the front door. 3 slow raps. When Clara turned back to the mirror, the figure was gone. Only her reflection stared back, except the reflection wasn't moving. It smiled when she didn't. The recorder in her hand hissed, then played a voice not her own. Welcome back to Hollowmere, Clara. The air grew cold. Somewhere deep inside the mansion, a piano began to play a single, haunting note. Clara ran for the exit, but the hallway had changed again. It no longer led to the front door. It led deeper inside, and from the walls came the whisper of children laughing. By the time morning light filtered through the cracked windows, Clara had not slept. She had found refuge in the library, if refuge was the right word. The shelves were filled with strange, ancient books, all marked with the same insignia. An open eye surrounded by flames. She discovered a diary belonging to Professor Reginald Ashbury, the mansion's last known owner. The final entry read, "The mirror is no longer a tool, it is a door. The ones on the other side call it the ghost dimension. I fear they want to cross." The handwriting ended abruptly in a streak of ink. Clara set the diary down. The mirror from last night still haunted her mind. Had she really seen someone? Or had exhaustion tricked her eyes? The recorder beeped new audio. She pressed play, her own voice trembling. I am not alone. There are people here. They look like me. But she hadn't recorded that. Suddenly, the mirror in the corner of the library began to hum, faintly vibrating. A soft mist formed around it. The reflection showed her, but behind her stood someone else. A second Clara, watching intently. Who are you? Clara demanded. The reflection smiled. You opened the door. We've been waiting. The glass rippled. A cold hand reached out from within the mirror and gripped her wrist. The world tilted, and before she could scream, everything went black. When she opened her eyes, she was standing in the same library. But it wasn't the same. The colors were dull, drained of life. Dust hung motionless in the air. Every clock was frozen. Through the window, she saw Liverpool but empty. No cars, no people, just stillness. She was inside the ghost dimension. Echoes of voices murmured around her, people calling her name, crying, whispering secrets of the mansion. She saw the Ashbury family walking down the stairs, transparent, pale as mist. Professor Ashbury looked at her and said, "The mirror feeds on curiosity. It doesn't show reflections, it shows replacements." Clara turned back toward the mirror and saw her real self, standing in the normal world, looking out through the glass. Unaware she'd been switched. The mirror was closing. She ran, but a whisper stopped her. If you return, someone else must stay. The glass sealed shut, trapping her inside. Clara lost track of time. In the ghost dimension, days and nights bled into one gray, endless loop. She wandered the empty mansion, hearing echoes of laughter and footsteps that weren't hers. Then, one day, she met Reginald Ashbury again, or what remained of him. You are trapped, like us, he said softly. But there's a way out. A trade. The mirror needs a living host to balance the passage. He led her to the great hall, where the mirror pulls like a heart. On the other side stood the other Clara, the version now living in her world. She was smiling faintly, wearing Clara's clothes, holding her recorder. She's perfect, Ashbury said. She believes she's you. Clara stepped closer. I want my life back. The reflection tilted its head. Then take it. But someone else must remain behind. Clara hesitated. Could she condemn another soul to eternity here? Then she saw it. Hundreds of faces trapped in the glass, their eyes pleading. The mirror whispered, choose. In a burst of courage, Clara lifted a shard of glass and smashed the mirror's edge. The light exploded outward, consuming everything. The mansion trembled as the dimensions collapsed into one. When she woke, she was outside in daylight, on Hollowmere Lane. The mansion stood silent behind her, intact but abandoned. Her phone buzzed a new message. Thank you for setting us free. Clara looked into her camera lens to record her final note, and froze. Her reflection in the glass smiled. A second too late. Case file complete, the voice said. The camera flickered, and the mansion behind her slowly faded from view, leaving only mist.